The sky was low that evening, like it didn't want to be seen. Gray stretched wide over the plains, and wind teased the dry grass like memory pulling at old regret. Elias Boone rode slow, shoulders hunched, hat brim low. His horse limped from a split hoof, his canteen was near empty, and his soul had long run out of company. He wasn't looking for trouble. Wasn't looking for love. Only a roof, dry wood, and silence enough to rest. A crumbling sign leaned near the bend of a half-forgotten road. It used to say Myrick Orchard, but time and weather had scraped most of the name away. Beyond it stood a two-story farmhouse, white once, now the color of dust. Windows stared blankly. Porch sagged like tired bones. The chimney coughed a faint line of smoke into the evening chill. Elias tugged the reins. The horse stopped without protest. He dismounted slow. Knocked once. Silence. The door creaked open at his touch, and he stepped inside as a guest no one asked for. His boots echoed in the hallway. The air smelled of rain, old apples, and flour. In the dim kitchen, a fire hummed steady. A cast-iron pot hung over low flame. Bread cooled on a cloth-draped table. He froze. Either someone lived here, or some ghosts baked fresh. He backed toward the door, hand near his revolver. But then she spoke. Not a ghost, not a warning. Just a woman's voice behind him, soft as flannel. Sit if you want. Supper's near done. He turned. She was tall, aproned, and plain in the way that made you look twice. Hazel eyes under strands of chestnut hair tied back carelessly. Her dress had been mended more times than it should, and flour dusted her forearm like snow. She didn't ask his name. Didn't look scared. You hungry? She asked. He nodded once. Then stay for the bread. By the time the others showed, he'd finished 2 slices and hadn't yet found his voice. They drifted in like parts of a wind song. One barefoot and plucking banjo strings. One shy, with a rabbit on her shoulder. One younger still, carrying books she didn't read but loved to smell. 4 sisters. Josephine was the eldest. She didn't say, but he knew. She carried the weight of the place, not like a burden but like a rhythm. Clara, the banjo girl, eyed him like she'd been waiting for trouble to walk in wearing boots. Martha barely spoke, but left a folded blanket by the hearth. And Ruby, youngest, wild-eyed, watched him like he was a character in a story she hadn't decided how to end. You can sleep in the barn, Josephine said after supper, setting down a single lantern. Roof don't leak much. Just don't snore. He tried to pay. Pulled coins from a worn leather pouch. Josephine shook her head. You're broke, she said flatly, though he hadn't told her. You look like a man who's spent everything but his guilt. Keep the coins. Elias left without a word. In the barn he lay beneath the rafters, horses huffing gentle nearby, and tried not to feel the warm bread in his belly, or the way their voices echoed through the trees like home. He dreamed of nothing. That was rare. Next morning, the world was gold with sunlight. Rain hadn't come. He meant to leave. Meant to ride out without thanks or goodbye, but the horse had thrown its shoe clean off. He swore under his breath. By then, Clara was already in the orchard, singing nonsense to the wind. Martha was milking the goat. Ruby was rearranging dried flowers on the windowsill like soldiers in battle. Josephine met him on the porch with a tin of coffee, and no small talk. You'll stay till he's sound, she said, nodding toward the horse. Then you can run again. I'm not running, Elias muttered. And that was that. He tried to keep to himself. Spent time fixing their gate, sharpening tools, hauling firewood. But the sisters pulled at him in ways he couldn't avoid. Clara demanded music lessons from him, though he'd never touched a banjo. She'd sit on the porch railing, humming loud, daring him to care. Martha brought him tea brewed from wild herbs, and never asked what it cured. Ruby asked questions no one should ask strangers. Did he believe people were born good? Had he ever stolen something he loved? Could animals sense sorrow? And Josephine watched. Quiet, sure. She didn't speak to fill space. When she did speak, it rooted into his ribs. On the 4th evening, storm clouds gathered in the distance. Elias stood by the porch, rolling tobacco, when Josephine joined him. You never said where you're from, she said. Nowhere worth missing. You planning to leave once the hoof heals? Was. She nodded. Then we won't stop you. That night, the creek swelled. Thunder hummed low like an old hymn. Rain started soft, then came down with a fury. He sat on the porch, smoking, watching lightning light up the fields. Josephine sat beside him. Clara thinks you've got secrets, she said. Clara's right. She also thinks you were married once. Once. Silence held between them. Rain on the roof. Goat bleating in the barn. Josephine reached down, plucked a splinter from the step, held it between two fingers like a sliver of time. You don't scare easy, she said. I've already lost everything. That's not the same as brave. No. Still, she added, looking at him for the first time like she meant it. I think you might be. He turned toward her. Her eyes weren't soft. They were clear. Like someone who'd cried every tear already. He didn't kiss her. Didn't touch her. But something passed between them just the same. A hush. A promise. A quiet, sacred thing. Next morning, the sky was blue again. The hoof had healed. He saddled the horse. Packed his bag. The sisters stood near the fence, all four, like a painting he didn't deserve to keep. Josephine handed him bread wrapped in cloth. Didn't say goodbye. He rode half a mile before stopping. Dismounted. Stared down the road like it offended him. Turned back. Walked the horse all the way to the orchard. Josephine met him before the porch. Something break? She asked. He looked at her hands. Calloused. Capable. I ain't fixed, he said. We ain't asking you to be. I don't know what I can offer. A chair at the table. A hand with the fence. Someone to sit with when the wind moans. He stared at the dirt. I ain't got no vows left. Josephine reached up. Brushed dirt from his sleeve like it mattered. Then don't vow, she said. Just stay. He did. That night, under the old apple tree their father had planted long ago, with Ruby braiding wildflowers and Clara teasing him for his crooked smile, with Martha handing him a ring carved from softwood, and the wind dancing like a witness, Elias Boone took Josephine's hand. And this time, he didn't let go. No preacher. No crowd. Just the stars, the sisters, and the sound of a man finally choosing to stay. So maybe you too, friend, watching this from a room with too much noise or too much silence, need to know this. Some houses are not built with nails. They are built with patience, bread, and the kind of kindness that doesn't ask for anything in return. And some men, however broken, are not meant to keep writing. They are meant to plant roots where a woman once left the porch light on. Tell me, now, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. I'd love to know how far this story traveled tonight. And if it touched something soft in you, leave a word for the sisters who stay strong together. Or for the men who finally choose to stay. Backhand index pointing right, like, comment, and subscribe. And click the next Wild West tale waiting on your screen. It's even deeper than this one. Go on. I'll be here, whispering more truths by the fire.